Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Another hot and sweaty morning here in Central Florida, but we're going to go ahead and replace the old well pump. It's been in there about 7 years and it still works fine, but I think I can get better pressure if, number one, if I jet out the well. I'm going to try to clean the well itself, the shaft, and when it gets down into the actual water, see if that jet will open some of that up. There's a lot of minerals in there and it seems to be running a little slow. The old pump works great, but the pressure in the house, just not what it used to be. So we're going to replace the pump, put a new pump in, and I'll show you how to do all this. So we're going to use an Everbilt. This is only got 6 gallons a minute, it says, at 10 feet. So we're actually down about 35 feet, but I'll bet you that we still have 6 gallons a minute without any problem. This is a cast iron pump, and that's important. I'll show you some differences of pumps here in just a second, but the cast iron pump is really probably the best way to go because it doesn't get hot. Stainless steel, they work great, but they get hot, and so I think that the lifetime of the pump, of a stainless steel pump, is less than a cast iron. So let's go ahead and open this box up and see what we got. So when you open up the box, it's really self-contained. Almost everything's here that we need, just a few parts that we need. It's already got a pressure gauge. That's nice, that saves you a few dollars. And we're going to go ahead and hook up the electric here. We're going to run 115 volts, not 230. And then it's got a brass fitting here that we're going to bring up, and that's our water supply. This is the inlet line right here. They got a plug in there. So from the well, that water is going to come through right here and into the pump, lifts it up, and then we'll go out through this discharge. Really a nice little unit, all self-contained. It's got instructions as well, but I don't think we'll need them. I think we just need to get started. So if we take off that regulator, you can see, real simple, looks like everything's good here. We need to take this off and rewire this so that there might just be a switch, but we'll take a look to bring power in, and should be a switch in here that we can switch to 110 or to 220. They say 115 and 230, but same thing. Okay, let's open up this regulator, see what's going on there. Make sure we don't lose our nuts and bolts. Oh yeah, so you can see it. It's got a switch right here. Can you see that switch? That right now it's set at 230. We're going to switch that over to 115, and then we'll wire this up to accept the 115 volts. That's all we have to do in here, so we can put this back. Don't over tighten it. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and start our plumbing. The one thing that we need, we need a male threaded 1.5 inch adapter, and there's 2 of them. One is on the inlet line and one is on the outlet line, and these are 1 inch. Okay, so I cut a short piece of PVC here. We're just going to glue this piece in here, screw this on, put our threaded tape on there. A good Teflon tape really is needed when you have a pressurized fitting. And so I'm just going to put this is a really good tape, so they say. We'll wrap that around here just to make sure. Because we're using plastic into cast iron or to brass, probably a good idea to put that on there. So I glued this piece in. Don't forget your primer, and let's go ahead and thread this on here. Try to get it on there hand tight first. We want to screw it all the way down, and then we'll put the wrench on it. should be able to tighten it up pretty good, so there won't be any leaks. Remember this is PVC, it's plastic, so don't tighten it up too much. And these are just old fittings that I happen to have laying around, you know, I've got lots of fittings. Let's go ahead and wrap this tape on here. And again, remember, we're going from plastic to cast iron, so just got to make sure we don't over tighten it. But it does have to be pretty tight in order to be watertight and keep the pressure in that pump. Okay, so remember, this is our inlet from the well, and it's 1 inch, okay? So we're going to glue that up when we hook up the pump to the existing well. And this is the outflow of the pump. So what I'm using for the power supply, this is a 16-2 old extension cord. I cut off about 6 or 8 feet. We're just going to go ahead and expose these wires and make some connections. And we're going to go ahead and strip those. I'm going to strip them to a pretty good length here so that I can wrap them around the terminals inside there. Real simple. And I'm just going to kind of twist them, get them tight. Now we're going to hook it up here to the pressure regulator, and we'll be ready to install this pump. There we go. So now we're just going to go ahead and unpower this pump. Remember, here's the regulator, and you can see I did the same thing on this one about 6 or 7 years ago, just an extension cord. It works fine. I'm going to go ahead and unplug that, and then we'll be able to cut and remove this pump and put the new pump, which is right over here on the stand, and line it all up. Then we can go ahead and cut this one, and we'll put our safety on here. We can put our safety on here right now, just so this well point doesn't drop down into the well itself. We don't want to lose the well point. We just need to put a little bit of pressure on there, keep it safe so it doesn't drop down in there. Okay, so I went ahead and cut that loose. Now let's go ahead and cut this guy loose, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here. There's still a little pressure in here. There we go. Nice. So now I can pull this pump out of here. Remember, I got to move a few things. It's kind of crowded in here, but you can see it's all loose and ready to go. we'll pull that pump up out of here and set the new one in place. We're using an all-in-one cement, so it's got the primer in there. Go ahead and get that one on. I already made these measurements, so everything should line up really well. Go ahead and glue up both these pieces. A little bit more. Always better to have more, be safe. Let it set up for a second. We should be good to go. Put our cap back on there, and that's complete. Now I hooked up the well point first because this has some play in it, and I can easily make this measurement. None of this is glued, I just got it all set up here. Let's go ahead and do that one next. So now we're filling up this line and the pump. Doesn't take much, but fill it all the way up. A little bit more. All right, that looks good. Let's dry it off. And we are ready to glue up the final piece. We should be good. I'm going to kick this pump on. Okay, so we're looking good. We got right about 48, 49 pounds of pressure and no leaks. So we're ready to turn this water on here and see how well it works, you know, and the water supply coming into the home. So let's take a look. So that pressure is pretty good. We have the kitchen sink running, the hot water, and you can hear the pump as we get closer to it. Well, let's take a look at that pressure and see what it's holding at real quick. Can you see that? Right at 50 pounds, staying right there. So it looks like we solved that problem with a new pump and also jetting the well, and it actually just shut off. So that water's still running. Let's see what it does. I'll turn it back around. If you watch carefully, you'll see that that pressure gauge is going down because the water's running. Let's see when it kicks on. It's down to about 35, 32. 30. I think it kicks on at 20. So right now we're using the reserve. That's the air pressure in that blue tank. That's just the reserve pressure. So it kicks on about 25 pounds, 26 pounds. Looking good. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but that's just twice the pressure that we had before. I mean, that's just so much more pressure. Looking really good, looking really good. So while we're right here and I'm thinking about it, we have now we have a used pump and it works fine. Not as much pressure as those new pumps, but we also have another. This is a 1 horsepower, and this is from Harbor Freight, and it's an old pump that someone gave me, said it doesn't work. But we've got this pump we could actually try. And what we're going to do, let me come over here. over here by this shower house, you can see the water lines down there. There is a water heater here, hot water heater, but it's a long ways from the well. So I'm thinking what I'd like to do is go ahead and put a well right here. So we'll probably jet a new well. Stay tuned for how to jet. The fastest way to jet a well, get down to a shallow well, although we get down about 40-50 feet. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.